Hello, welcome to Typecast. If you like our content, please remember to like, share and subscribe. Hatfield National Union of Miners, 1984 to 85, the miners' strike. Here stood the miners and families of the National Union of Mine Workers in defence of their jobs, communities and against industrial genocide. Loyal, proud and true, never forget, never forgive. See it here, but across there is an old abandoned colliery field. We just spoke to a mine worker who took part in the strikes who saw us here. Many of Yorkshire's problems, and the country more wildly, are attributed to the miners' strike, to Thatcherism, neoliberal economic ideology, and the disastrous consequences of post-industrialisation. Once places like this went, these communities, they had no jobs, they had no support. The youth traineeship scheme that they brought in to do a little bit didn't do nearly enough, and companies exploited that, and it's led to decades and decades of social and economic deprivation. We can see a memorial to the workers, the people who worked in the mines, what their jobs were, the numbers and the names. We've got collarers, deputies, treasurers, electricians, beltmen.
It looks like it's been pretty recently put up, actually. I'm not even sure if it's totally finished yet.
Blood was spilled on these streets, you know. The police, the country became a bit of a
Well,
police
he was
state in
saying
Yorkshire.
that he got into physical altercation with that he was attacked by the police.
He said he was attacked by the police twice. At one time, they broke his wrist. And these were just everyday working people, normal folk, who just wanted to protect the jobs. Some southerners, some people who were more well-to-do and sort of profited from all these events. They'll say that the economics of the mine industry, of the coal industry, didn't add up. International competition, etc. Whether the way in which it was managed, the transition between an industrial mining basis of economy to this sort of weird post-industrial where we have now, it was not managed at all. There were no traineeship programs, so there's no retraining. These people, they had no support from the government. You can't just dismiss all of this by saying the economics of coal didn't add up. You're just playing into established narratives there.
What are the alternatives?
The alternatives. There was a co-op in Wales, there was a colliery in Wales which went through the process of the miners' strikes, you know, but they changed the way their business owned. The union bought out the colliery as a co-op, and they utilised it as a sort of workers-owned enterprise. So they were still mining, still doing the jobs. They had to take pay cuts, but they could vote on those pay cuts. They found more innovative ways of working the mine. And this coal mine in Wales was so successful as a co-op that it only closed in 1996. And that was because they literally ran out of coal, not because of the economics. So, you know, better methods of worker ownership, better business practices, and political caring would go a long way in South Yorkshire. I think often gets forgotten is that the actions of the reaction of the Thatcher government and the Conservative Party, the Westminster establishment, towards the miners' strike, they wanted to destroy any source of community power and any source of left-wing community power, especially, that was outside of parliamentary control. There were other minerals down there that could have been mined, you know, like the mobile phone that you're probably using to watch this. That has to be mined using cobalt from the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is using child labour. You know, we didn't have child labour in the coal mines, at least in the 80s. Exporting the work and importing coal and natural resources, we basically allowed systems of oppression and neo-colonialism to develop in outside nations. Following the miners' strike and the destruction of the unions and destruction of sort of the sense of community and spirit, you know, once the economy goes, once social deprivation came through, it's very hard to regrow, which is why we need a Yorkshire Parliament. Regional parliaments, I think, can really empower Yorkshire to start building back better, Boris.
Thou's gonna catch thy death the cold. Thou's gonna catch thy death the cold. On hill Climore Batat, on hill Climore Batat, on hill Climore Batat.